HBB, aka Bad Guy Good Audio Reviews, is a reviewer who's known for his love for bassy, warm, and laid-back kind of tuning. And in today's video, we have one of his collab IEM that is, none of those things. What the f? Introducing the Tangzu x HBB Xuan Nv, or Xuan Nv, whichever you want to call it. The Xuan Nv sports a 2 dynamic driver configuration with a tuning that is more mid-centric than any of his other collab IEMs so far. And according to the man himself, it's by design. Mr. HBB wanted an IEM for the crowd that has always thought his other collab IEMs were too warm, too bassy, and doesn't play too well with female vocals. And to his credit, and in my opinion, I think he nailed this one. The Xuan Nv has an emphasized upper mid-range that pushes vocals front and center and causes the bass to take a bit of a back seat. Now that might seem like the Xuan Nv might come across thin or shouty, but surprisingly, there's none of that. The amount of bass is just enough to give the Xuan Nv a sense of body while at the same time retaining a decent level of vocal clarity. Which means you get the full benefit of a mid-centric kind of tuning, that is, the vocals are very clean and clear, while at the same time not falling into the common pitfall of being too thin or too shouty. And speaking of vocals, the timbre is also pretty good, and this has to do mainly with how smooth the treble response is. There are no treble peaks to ruin the timbre of instruments and vocals like you might find in some BAs, which also is the reason why BA have BA timbre. All of this put together make the Xuan Nv a very pleasant to listen to IEM, especially for those of you who love the vocals. It's smooth, cohesive, and somewhat versatile as well. Now hearing all of this might make you think, damn, the Xuan Nv seems like one of the best IEM on planet Earth. And it kinda is because it's critical approved and it's sold on Hangout.audio, where we literally only sell the good stuff. But like all IEMs, there are cons. The first con is there's a general feeling of softness across the board, and this has to do with the transient's attack not being as incisive as I would like. Or in non-nerdy terms, when each note hit, it doesn't sound as distinctive as I would like. And con numero dos, and this is a nitpick, vocals can sound a bit closed in or narrow, and this is most likely due to the unevenness between the upper mid-range and the lower treble. This causes the decay of vocals and instruments to come across not as natural. Moving on now, we have comparisons with Xuan Nv's biggest competitors. Let's first start off with the Hexa. The Hexa is a slightly bit warm, neutral IEM, very safe, very versatile, and to some people, very boring and plain, including me. The Xuan Nv, on the other hand, is also versatile, but has a touch of that specialist vocal sauce to keep things exciting. Though I have to say that technical-wise, I'm gonna give the edge to the Hexa. Next, we have versus the Aria 2 by Moondrop. Now, this IEM is considerably warmer than the Hexa, which leads the Xuan Nv to sound cleaner and more open in this comparison. Technical-wise, I would say they're about on par. The biggest difference is the Xuan Nv is more of a mid-centric, upper mid-range emphasized IEM, whereas the Aria 2 is more of a very balanced out, warm IEM, more laid back, if you will. And last comparison is with the new Titan S. Yes, basically a relic at this point according to Sci-Fi Standard Time, but it still holds up very well today. And in comparison to the Xuan Nv, they have more in common than I thought. Both of them are mid-centric IEMs. The Xuan Nv just sounds more balanced out and filled in the lower end, not as thin as on the Titan S. Now where the Titan S does a better job, I feel like it's in overall technicalities. Everything just comes across a bit more tactile, more distinctive than on the Xuan Nv. Now let's get into the non-sound aspects, starting with the incredible accessories that the Xuan Nv has, and I'm mainly talking about the ear tips here. 6 pairs of Sankai ear tips, 3 wide and 3 standard bores. Now these alone would run you around $24 to $25 if you buy them separately. For these to be included with the Xuan Nv at a total price of only $79, it's a pretty good deal. The rest of the accessories are kind of just standard, though. We have a matted, rubbery cable, which feels alright, and a carrying pouch. The shell itself is also nothing too impressive, just full 3D printed resin. Another non-sound aspect that I unfortunately have to touch on for the Xuan Nv is its overall not so great QC, particularly when it comes to channel balances. Now, I should preface this by saying that channel imbalances in IEMs is common and to be expected in some degree. And also small imbalances, sometimes 1 or 2 dB, depending on where it is really undetectable in real life listen. So don't overanalyze any graph you see. With the Xuan Nv, I feel like the imbalances is a bit more common than other IEMs that I feel like I have to at least present the data to you guys. So in all fairness, and to keep this short and sweet, I've gathered all the available squid graph of the Xuan Nv that has both the left and right channels measured by either a 711 or 5128 equivalent rig. Feel free to pause the video and comb through these data yourself and form your own opinion. And speaking of forming your own opinion, if you're in Singapore and want to try out the Xuan Nv for yourself, why not come down to the Hangout? We're located at 29B Moss Street, level 3 in Chinatown. Come on down, grab a cup of coffee, try the Xuan Nv, try the Xuan Nv's competitors. We have all of them as well. But if you're not in Singapore and your only option to try a Xuan Nv is to blindly buy it off the internet, let me at least help you make that decision easier. Buy the Xuan Nv if 1, you love a mid-centric IEM that is devoid of any thinness or shout. Number 2, if you want value for money, great sounding IEM with great premium ear tips. And 3, if you own the Hexa or the Aria 2 and you want a set that complements the set that you have, the Xuan Nv is a good choice. And I guess 3.2 if you own the Titan S and you want a bassier variant of it. And now, reasons not to get the Xuan Nv. The first one is if you don't want a mid-centric kind of signature, you want something bassier or you want something more neutral. Number 2, if you are a technical performance enjoyer, which means technical performance is important to you, the Xuan Nv might not give you that vibe. And number 3, of course, if QC is a bit too iffy for you. Now, if you do decide to purchase the Xuan Nv, why not head over to our store at hangout.audio for free global shipping. Conditions apply. And remember, friends, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. See you next week.